Things have just opened. Everyone's set up. We are slowly starting to get things rolling. And soon this whole area will be packed full of people and I will not be able to do this. I'm going to be over there. So hopefully you stopped by and said hi, got some stuff, and had some fun. Hey there, everybody out there in the comics world. I hope you're all doing well. I'd like to share another video with you, maybe give some thoughts on the recent Boise Comic Arts Festival, or BCAF. It used to be called the Boise Library Comic Con, but it turns out that the name Comic Con was copyrighted in a jerk move of epic proportion by the folks that run San Diego Comic Con. At some point, I guess they decided that the term Comic Con was popularized only because of their convention, and the notion that language naturally seeks shortcuts and evolves slang was apparently lost on them. So don't dislocate your shoulder patting yourself on the back there, San Diego Comic-Con dudes. You just sit back and stay classy, huh? Anyhow, Boise Library Comic-Con changed its name to Boise Comics Arts Convention, or Boise Comics Arts Festival, a few years ago because of that. I will admit that despite any shade thrown on my part, to be honest, the Boise Comics Arts Festival does sound way cooler, less derivative, and definitely brings a unique name to the table. So, anyhow, last year, BCAF was an open-air event. Due to the Rona, it's usually inside of a building, but while the motivation for the event was pandemic-related, the open-air venue actually proved pretty popular with a lot of people. So this year, they did another open-air event, but this time they partnered up with the Boise City Zoo, which is officially known as Zoo Boise. Zoo Boise has a beautiful venue to work within. There's trees, there's nice shady walk paths, there's restrooms and snack bars, and of course there's animals. People dig animals. I dig animals. I let some live in my house with me, in fact. Typically canines, but I've also dabbled in felines as well. So anyhow, there we were at the zoo. I was in the African Plains section, wedged in between the giraffes and the lion. The lion apparently is a big, impressive specimen. I haven't seen it. The giraffes, well, they're giraffes. They're tall and cool-looking, and have that exotic blend of ungainly yet graceful. Beautiful animals. But anyhow, there was a main entryway, and it opened up onto a large inner courtyard that was huge. It had a big pavilion, lots of tables, booths, and displays. I visited it at one point, and it was packed. I later found out that there was record attendance, but I don't know if that meant for the zoo or for BCAF. But anyhow, the place was hopping. Over where I was at, though, it was much quieter. I'm not sure a lot of attendees were aware of our little African outpost. It didn't seem like we were getting the foot traffic of the other venues in the park. This happens a lot at BCAF, though. Back when we were at our indoor venue, it's the Jump Building. It's Jack's urban meeting place, and don't worry, no one really knows what the heck it is or what it is trying to be. But at the Jump Building, there are usually 2 or 3 floors of exhibits connected by stairs and elevators alike, but people always seem to miss the top floor where the vendor booths are, usually where my booth is. But there I was in the African Plains section at the zoo. For whatever reason, I didn't do as well as I normally did at BCAF. I hesitate to say that it was because of the layout. It might have been. But there were also other factors that might have been due to my own decisions. See, I went to Gem State Comic Con in April, and I did really well. Perhaps a lot of my potential BCAF buyers already got what they wanted from me there. Also, I didn't have time to finish putting together Bohica Blues Book 3, Fallujah, so I didn't have a new book to offer at BCAF. I did have my cool new Random Coyote Velcro patches, but minor swag like that isn't going to be a major draw. And to be honest, I may just need to diversify my offerings too. I look around and I notice that a lot of escapist stuff is selling big these days. Fantasy, horror, and sci-fi are popular. I'm not a big horror guy. I think I could do it if I set my mind to it, but it just doesn't naturally call to me. Sci-fi and fantasy, though, now I've got stuff in those genres I want to work on. My Bohica Blues stuff is somewhat escapist with a lot of absurd humor, but it is also narrowly focused on historical events and military and veteran comedy. I could use a little diversification. Another genre that gets a lot of traction these days, I see it on Webtoon, is romance. Don't scoff, romance comics used to be huge business in the early days of comics. In the 40s and 50s, romance comics partially drove the industry. Detective and crime comics did too, with some horror comics. But now, over in Webtoon, everything old is new again, with like 1,000,001 romance webtoons going on. I've actually heard people complain that it's starting to get a little oversaturated with romance comics. I'm not going to do romance comics, although, again, I'll be honest with you, I think if I really set my mind to it, I could. I like fitting in relationships as supporting arcs in other stories. It's realistic. People reach for one another in comfort all the time, especially in hard times. But it would be hard for me to see doing a story where the romance was the centerpiece, and the alien invasion or the zombie uprising was the supporting action. So as far as BCAF goes, my relatively poor showing was probably as much a result of my own business decisions as it was my physical location in the venue. But these were business decisions that I consciously made, so I accept that and I roll with it. I am working on the new book, Book 3, and some more diverse projects. To be honest, I love Bohica Blues, but I am itching to explore other endeavors. Working in only one project in one genre, it can sometimes seem claustrophobic. My science fiction story setting, Empires, is more gritty and R-rated. I can explore different things in there, things that don't shoehorn well into a family-friendly comedy about real-life events. When I'm working on Bohica Blues, I'm always cognizant of the fact that I'm talking about things that actually happened. I'm involving people I actually know and other people who are there. It does affect what and how I write. But a sci-fi galaxy of my own creation? Why, that's a free and open playground. There's a fantasy story I want to dive into as well, and believe it or not, a nature documentary of sorts. Details to be shared when the time is right. A lot of details I have shared over at my Patreon page. Why not step over there and join my team? We have an exclusive little campfire circle over there with behind-the-scenes stuff, upcoming projects, developmental sketches, and more. Sometimes I post exclusive comics there that no one else gets to see. If you're interested in my sci-fi and fantasy ventures, there will be updates and sneak peeks there. I also have a Ko-Fi page, or is it Coffee? I don't know. Where you can stop off and get books, or just drop off a tip for me if you like my work. Any and all income from my comics, art, and stories gets put into the creation of more comics, art, and stories. I don't use it for a pizza and beer fund. This is 100% devoted to the expansion of more creative endeavors. If you can't afford to buy or donate, don't worry. You can support me at Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram. Just drop by and give a like or a subscribe or even a supporting comment. It all adds up and it's all appreciated. Well, anyhow, I'm going to wrap this up. Thank you for stopping by. I hope you enjoyed the video. And you can talk it over with your family if you want to like and subscribe. I do hope you join me on the next journey, but until the next time, keep things random.